Greetings, programs. Neo Mega Man back again for part 3 of Let's Play Katawa Shoujo, Rin's Path. Okay, it's been a while since I recorded the first 2 episodes, so I have no idea where we are. Let's just get on with it, shall we? The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people that have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Muto lurches into class with a tired stagger. Yeah, I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawls some page and question numbers on the board and slips down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in class is going to call him on it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That can partly be attributed to the 2 empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, doing council work for the festival, probably. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she's making up for Shizune's lack of voice. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. So, tell me, how are things? Things? I expected Muto to be a little vague, but this is pushing the limits. You know, things. You've had a week to settle in now, so how are things? Fine, I guess. I see. And how is your condition? The pause before condition seemed a little unnecessary. Haven't had any problems so far. A brief shimmer of relief passes across Muto's face. Good, that's good. The school nurse was a little concerned that you might have been pushing yourself a bit too hard. He asked me to keep an eye on you when he couldn't. That makes sense. I'd ask that you don't blow us off so freely. As much as we try to give you the level of education that you would get at a normal school, you have to realize that you have limits. Our goal is to make sure that you know where those limits are and how to maximize your potential within them. Do you follow me? I guess. I mean, I don't plan on doing anything stupid. Well, that's a start, I guess. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? Hang on, what's the title of this track? School Days. I never can remember that. I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there that realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you gotta keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over, and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. I don't know, viewers, you got me there. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the classroom. A few students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to near silence that Muto and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. I hate that frickin' bell. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival prep. I stay behind and try to quickly finish off the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend. What with the festival and all being tomorrow. Hanako! Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least nominally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from poor Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, neither of us tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either, so an oppressive silence falls under the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritated sigh and subsequent fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Whoosh. Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye in sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there's nothing else to do in the classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either. The school is a beehive of activity, but nobody pays me any heed. I saunter past classrooms filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing around like little worker bees. You wouldn't guess the school day's over. It's a bit quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by, left and right, hurrying as quick as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making it feel limp all over. Warm, soft air flows inside my shirt, feeling like a cushion. I yawn lazily, thinking about what I'd do. I'll drop off my books at the dorm first, and then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe Kenji's in his room. On the way to the dorms, I spot Emmy coming my way, running despite not having those weird prosthetics on. I wave at her, and she skids to a stop. Yo, Hisao! Splatters of white and green paint adorn her nose and chin respectively. But her smile is wide, as it seems it always is. She leans closer to me, amplifying the feeling she's examining me. What you doing? Nothing really. I don't have anything important to do for the festival, and everyone else seems to be doing something important. That's perfect. Then you can help me and Ren. With the festival preparation? I'm not sure I'd be of much help. That's fine. I'm not much help either. And he grabs my wrist and starts dragging me back inside the school quite forcefully. Even her walking speed is more like jogging, making me stumble over myself simply trying to keep up. The stairs slow Emmy down a little bit. Maybe it's hard to climb with her legs, or maybe she's finally run out of breath. We go all the way back to the 3rd floor into the seniors' hallway, ending up where I left 5 minutes ago. I could just as well have stayed here waiting for Emmy, had I known. So are you... Is Ren working on that mural still? That's right. She needs all kind of paints and brushes and stuff, so I went to get them from the art classroom. And you need me to help with that. Well, Rin told me you'd already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind. I see. So thanks to Emmy's flaky logic, we're finally here, collecting stuff from the art classroom for other people. The room's empty apart from ourselves and the lonely specks of dust floating in the air. Emmy skips straight away to the back wall, digging out a tiny crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make sense of the scrawled handwriting, I take a closer look at the materials lying around here. Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in a most unorganized fashion. Some look like they've been left there for several decades, relics of a previous art club generations. Next to the heavy stacks of neatly piled drawing paper are boxes full of different sized brushes and unsorted crayons. The smells of paint, turpentine, and fresh paper float in the stale air, mixing in my nostrils to form that unmistakable scent of art. He's waxing poetic there. Emmy studies her notes, comparing them to the markings on the various paint cans, and passes them to me if she finds the correct matches. She stretches her neck to look on the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf no matter what she does. Emmy just gives up and looks to the shelf longingly, like a child at a toy store, puffing in annoyance. After a moment of building anger, she starts jumping up and down, apparently trying to speed read the labels during the fraction of a second she can see them, and catch what she can. It's no surprise that she fails miserably and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why me lending a hand around here to be so useful. Come on, let me do that. You can't jump high enough, and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your size. You are not. She turns around, flaring scorn, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'll look up there, okay? She glares at me one more time, but can't come up with a retort. With a grudging humph, she turns her back to me. So I begin scrounging around the top shelf for paint, while below Emmy crouches to scavenge what she can from the cupboards. I shake my head a little after double-checking to ensure she can't see me do so. Emmy having a complex about her height was a surprise. I wouldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easygoing, but I guess everyone has their weak spots. Only after we have almost all the items collected and spread out on a desk like a treasure hunter spoils do I realize that it wasn't necessarily the height jab that got her riled up. She might not be told, or she might not like to be told that she can't do something, like jump. But Emmy herself seems to have forgotten all about it already. Quick to anger, quick to forgive. She's that type of a person? At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart, as she chatters away happily while we pick up the rest of the items and then make our way back to Ren. I chivalrously carry the bulk of materials as we make our way towards the dormitories. Rin is really stressed about getting her painting done. It's her own fault, though. She should have started earlier. Is she going to make it? No idea. It looks good to me, but with Rin, you never know what's going on. I found her this morning lying in front of the dorm in the fetal position. She hadn't slept all night. I can't believe that the night nurses hadn't found her. And now she's painting again like crazy. Yeah, I've noticed that she kind of comes off unhinged, so to speak. And he giggles at that, as well as at my likely too obvious awkwardness. I don't mind it. She's just a little weird sometimes. Oh, on that I think I can agree with her. Unlike me, Emmy seems to be cool with Rin's whatever it is that feels so off about her. Still, they don't feel close like Misha and Shizune do. With them working as a single entity sometimes, it's hard to say where one ends and the other begins, even though they're so different, just like Emmy and Rin are. And Rin is the most different of them all. Different from anyone else I've met. Yeah, I guess she's a very unique person. I return to that word again, as if it encompasses Rin's personality by itself. But really, it's just a substitute for a lengthy description of her oddities. And he giggles as I grasp about for a properly descriptive word. She's just weird. You know, earlier, she spent half an hour sitting on her box. I stared at her toes. She giggles again in a way that makes me think she doesn't know what's funny about it. It just is. All that time. The working area is a mess, but the mural itself has taken over even more of the wall since I last saw it. The disfigured human figures have mostly been colored in tones of red, pink, and orange. Weird, imaginary things populating the spaces between. It looks nice. I can't think of any word that would describe the work concisely and comprehensively, so I settled myself on a nondescript nice. But honestly, it seems that the area around the walls becomes untidier at the same rate as the mural progresses. The ground is littered with dozens of paint cans, various art supplies, and empty soda bottles. Rin herself is at the center of this chaos, standing there looking very cozy as if she was a natural part of the scene. Her pant legs have been rolled up to the knees, exposing her thin legs, which sport a drying spectrum of war painting similar to those on Emmy's face. Emmy sprints to Rin ahead of me and gleefully jumps in front of her. I'm back! That was fast. Did you run in the corridors again? He's how help me. Emmy points victoriously at me. Rin turns around as if following Emmy's finger with her eyes, looking at my general direction. She nods absent-mindedly at me. She looks like she hasn't slept since last night. A vacant, glazed stare that's more focused slightly off me, and movements like in a slow-motion movie. Hello, Hisao. Thank you for the help. Don't mention it. I just did. Never mind. Looks like you've made progress. Looking good as far as I can tell. But now you get more bad luck. I know. I'm willing to take the risk. That's a very nice thing to say. For me, of course, not for you. This is why artists are always unlucky. They have to constantly look at their unfinished paintings. So artists can't find romance, their favorite TV shows are cancelled, or they die young because of an unspecified disease. It's a deep and mysterious law of the universe. Unless they're blind. She considers this for a while, looking like she's going to fall asleep. There's a boy. At the art club, you see. Blind boy, so he doesn't see. You already told me. I glance sideways at Emmy, and she glances back in a way that tells she's heard this one before, too. Neither of us says anything to Rin, though, so she continues her monotone soliloquy like an unfunny stand-up comedian. He should become an artist. No bad luck. Guaranteed. Don't you think that would be a good idea? That only blind people should become artists? No, not as such. Dot, dot, motherfucking dot. You might have a point. Abandoning this train of thought, she turns again to consider her work and starts humming a tune that I think I recognize, but can't remember the name of. Emmy arranges the supplies we brought and moves a few paint cans around, trying to bring some organization to the scene. Excuse me. Emmy, I need the Prussian blue paint. Which one's Prussian blue? She's staring helplessly at 7 or 8 cans, each with a different tone of blue. It's the one with Prussian blue paint in it. Jeez, Rin, you're not helping at all. I look around as well, even though I don't know what Prussian blue looks like either. I wonder what blue has to do with Prussia. Or what Prussia even is. The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't place it. While none of the blues looks more Prussian than the others, the small print on the labels is legible enough to determine that none say anything about the contents being Prussian. There is no Prussian blue here. And he heaves a sigh. I guess I have to go back and get some. I promised to help with our class project, though, so I'll be back a bit later. Can you manage without it for a few hours? Rin nods, so Emmy leaves. I stay because I like watching Rin paint, and because I have nothing better to do. I sit on a box and pick up today's book from my bag. It's a story about 3 guys drinking beer for 2 weeks straight and doing little else. Riveting, Hisao. Rin moves from the spot that was in need of the blue and starts slowly working on another. Her foot works the brush steadily against the plastered wall, layers of paint on top of layers of paint. The mural slowly gains more form. I turn the pages at a leisurely pace. In this chapter, they're drinking beer at the protagonist's friend's place. In previous ones, it was in the protagonist's own apartment. It's not a page-turner kind of book. A slice of someone's imaginary life that makes me wonder why it had to be written. Why indeed? The reason for doing something creative. It's something incomprehensible. Like why Rin does paintings. It feels like she and Emmy are the same, going squarely against their fates as if it's just out of spite. Rin even said something like that. Do something you can't just because you can. Is that what she meant? Was that her reason? It might be Emmy's. She comes off as quite a headstrong person. Rin doesn't give off that kind of air. Thinking about it, she doesn't give off any kind of air. Or maybe a different kind every time I talk with her. Why did she say what she said? Why does she, or anyone at all, paint, or draw, or sculpt, or write? I've never had much of a creative impulse, so I don't think I can really understand it. Makes me feel hollow inside. What a grim thought. I can't really decide whether it's true or not either. Am I content being this way? I can't deny I'm feeling a little bit envious of Rin, but I can't really consider it a flaw of any kind. I'm myself and she is herself. Still, I do need to find something that could make me feel a little less lost about myself, instead of just drowning myself in these books as I did in the hospital. I can't help but feel disoriented. The new school, lifestyle, and people around me contribute heavily to this sensation. I'm trying my best to fit into existing social circles, and most of the people I've met have been really nice. It still feels like I'm an outsider, though, like I don't belong. I shake the feeling off, realizing that I'm spacing out. I've neither turned a page of the book nor done anything for Rin. She's trying to pour some paint from a big can using only her feet, not having bothered to ask me. Or maybe she did and I didn't hear it. Either way, it looks very unstable. I quickly jump to help her, as it looks like she's about to spill the entire contents of the can all over the pavement. I take the can from her and from her feet and pour some into the bowl. She doesn't say anything, and neither do I. I catch a glimpse of her eyes, looking silently at me from under her unkept bangs. It's an unreadable expression, a perfect poker face, mixed with a hint of something like a mild surprise. I wonder what she's thinking. Maybe she's wondering about what I'm thinking. Maybe nothing. A penny for your thoughts. Do you have any pennies with you? I don't think I do. Then I don't think I will tell. I'm not thinking anything either, so you're in luck. Except now I just did. She frowns, looking very unsatisfied. It's hard not to think about anything, but it's important. I'm about to ask why it's important when some old guy walks up to us looking like he has some business with Rin. Oh, dearie me, folks. Here we go. Good afternoon. How's it going? I can make it. Rin doesn't take her eyes off the wall and responds so naturally that I can only assume they know each other. I haven't seen the man before, so naturally I wonder who he might be. Maybe a teacher? Dressed like that? His hair is faded to a silvery gray, so much so that it looks artificially dyed. I hope that's not the case. Small round glasses hang on the bridge of his nose, but it appears he's constantly looking over the lenses rather than through them. He's also got some wicked Dr. Wily eyebrows. He's studying the mural intently over his glasses. Good, good. What bold composition you have here. He moves to inspect the mural closer, talking to himself about it in a way that makes it obvious he wants us to hear it too. Very good indeed. I don't really know what to make of it, but Rin doesn't seem to care much. She's looking around her working space, the various bowls of different tones scattered all over. Isao? A little more of this. Give me a second. I pour a 50-50 mix of two paints into the bowl to create more of the same pale pink tone Rin was using to fill up the shape of a man's face. Rin watches me doing so, which kind of makes me feel nervous somehow. Her face is so unassuming that it feels she's just waiting for me to do something wrong. The man turns to reckon me as well, looking surprised as if he noticed my presence only just now. Maybe he did.
Why, hello there. Who might you be?
Ah, I am a transfer student to Class 3-3. Hisao Nakai. Nice to meet you.
Muto's class, eh? Well, I won't hold that against you.
He laughs very loudly, obnoxiously loudly. A few small birds take flight away from a nearby tree.
Jeez. I'm Shinichi Nomiya, the art teacher.
So this is the art teacher. In retrospect, I should have guessed as much. He even looks like one as far as first impressions go.
See. How did you come to end up assisting my protege?
I think that's a typo. I think protege only has one E at the end. I wish I knew. Okay, here's an important decision gate. If you're just kind of stuck with her, then bad things happen. So we're going to go with the other one. I'm interested in the art club. I guess I'm a little interested in the art club. I blurted out, partially inadvertently.
What do you mean?
Nothing specific. I wonder if I could come by sometime, even if it's just to observe or something. I've been thinking that I should join some club or something, so it's in no way a premeditated move, but a vague sense of determination has really been building inside me for this past week. I want to do something. I want to belong somewhere. It might as well be the art club, my shortcomings notwithstanding. The teacher seems pleased.
Oh, you want to join? Well, we always welcome new people, of course. Club meetings are normal enough. We study various aspects of the fine arts and try our hands at them as well. Or feet.
Eesh. God, Nomiya. He gives an embarrassed cough, but Rin doesn't seem to mind. I take a small amount of comfort from the fact that I'm not the only one with vocabulary difficulties in this school. Nomiya rebounds from his faux pas by theatrically checking the time from his huge, gleaming pocket watch, and slaps his forehead even more theatrically. What is this guy, the drama teacher, too?
I really must take my leave now, but if you have questions, I'm sure Tezuka can clarify.
Somehow mentioning clarify and Rin in the same sentence doesn't feel right. However, I don't say as much to the teacher since he seems to be in a hurry.
Tezuka, I'm pleased to see that this little project is going so well. I just stopped by to remind you not to run off by yourself tomorrow. I've invited certain people to the festival for you, and I'm sure they'd like to meet you as well. I hope I'll see you on Monday then, Nakai.
The teacher leaves, and we're left by ourselves again. Rin is still painting as if nothing notable happened. Since nothing in fact did, I'm left wondering what on earth is wrong with me. Oy vey, Hisao. Art and I haven't worked well together in the past, at least judging from the grades I used to have in middle school. Maybe a club will be different than an obligatory class. Who knows? I try to come up with something meaningful to ask about it, but to no avail. I'll just go to a club meeting and see how it goes. So, he invited some people tomorrow just to check out your painting? He has a lot of art people friends. They like to talk about art. I think he wants me to talk about art with them. Somehow I get the feeling you're not too thrilled about it. Excuse me, folks. Rin shrugs noncommittally, but still gives an impression of her general displeasure at the idea of having to discuss her painting, or any painting, with other people. I don't really like talking about art. It's already a way to talk without talking, so why bother talking about it? I can understand that. It's like being bored and talking about being bored because you're bored. I'm not following you. I am. Have you ever talked about being bored? It's pointless and not very exciting. All you can really say about it is, I'm so bored. I once spent a week trying to think of something meaningful to say about boredness. It was the most boring week I've ever had. But that's pretty fitting, don't you think? Rin gives me a look. That laconic kind that looks like it doesn't mean anything, but it so definitely does. Anyway, I don't know. I guess I just rarely can come up with anything to say about art. I mean, like this one you're doing now. I have no idea what to think about it, except that it looks nice. What's this painting about? It's not about anything at all. Dot, dot, motherfucking dot. That's what I'd like to say. So I did. But that was a small lie. I said it anyway because I would kind of like it to be true. Teacher wanted me to do this, but I didn't have any ideas. I tried to have some, but nothing happened. So now this is a painting without any ideas. But what are you painting then? No idea. Come to think of it, I think I'll call this no idea. Now I started thinking again. This is bad. She shakes her head vigorously for a while, trying to shake the thinking out of her head. That amber red hair flies wildly around. Uh-oh, he sounds getting descriptive. This is why I had Emmy help me. She makes it easy not to think about anything. You know, how she just talks and talks and talks about nothing for hours. It's like her head is made of bubblegum foam bath jelly. I beg your pardon? You're kind of the same, but not really. It's very helpful if you stay here. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not. It's probably neither, Rin being the overly neutral person that she is. So, is there anything specific you'd like me to do to make you not think? Just be. You know, I could make a comment, but I should probably save it for the end of this series. So, without knowing what I should do, I just sit on an empty box to watch her continue with the painting, idly leafing through the pages of the beer drinking book. Beer drinking book. Rin has a serene expression on her face, her dark green eyes hiding what she might think behind them. No, wait, she's supposedly not thinking anything, right? She quietly hums to a tune, interrupting every now and then with polite requests for more paint or another kind of brush. Her concentration is admirable, even though she seems to be sleep-deprived and under pressure to finish the job. Inch by inch, the painting gains more form, details being added on top of details, colors entwining with each other, filling the empty spaces, growing on top of each other. I find myself thinking about inspiration and motivation to create art again. Where does one get ideas? They don't just come out of nowhere, and I don't think there are muses that magically inject some inspiration into your head. Although, never mind. Ideas have an origin and a purpose. The more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that Rin is lying about her mural, or at least twisting the truth. Maybe she doesn't even realize it herself. You can't do anything creative without having an idea of what you're going to create. That would go against the definition. Every stroke must be decided to be drawn. Even if it's made at random, then that too is a conscious decision. So her painting, even this one, must be based on having some deliberate goal or idea of what to paint. He's now trying to get deep here, and unfortunately this is kind of a trend in this particular path. If Rin's idea is to have no idea, as she said, does that count as having an idea? A logical paradox? That would seem to be Rin's modus operandi for the most normal interactions, so it wouldn't surprise me if she hadn't even noticed it herself. I wonder if I should bring it up, but I'm not sure I want to engage in an argument about logic with this girl. One of us would probably end up short-circuiting fairly quickly, so I discard the thought. Rin is squirming and shuffling restlessly. Even her usual blank visage breaks occasionally into pretty difficult-looking expressions, the kind that one doesn't just come up with accidentally. Everything all right? Yes. No. My back started hurting again. This painting is too big, after all. It's hard to paint in this position. Want to take a break? After I finish this part. Of course, she doesn't take a break, and I don't bring it up again because that would be completely and utterly pointless. Rin continues her work, and I stay with her. I like to watch her paint, and I'm going to be a member of the same club she's in now. When she declares the mural to be finished, it's already so dark that I have no idea how she can tell. There's no celebration, no general sense of a job well done. Just a tired and laconic, I'm done. And then we both go to sleep. That's Rin for you. Alrighty, folks. That's the end of that day, and next time on Let's Play Katawa Shoujo, Rin's Path, it's festival time. Oh yeah. Now this next video gonna be pretty good. I'd almost say it's the highlight of Rin's Path, but I think the ending probably holds that more than this part. So huzzah for high notes. Anyway, I'm babbling now. So, for Let's Play Katawa Shoujo Rin's Path, I'm your host, Neo Mega Man, signing off. End of line.